first for the Bucs. Jalen Smith. That is a play to remember. Oh, what a tackle by Jalen Smith.
Welcome to the Frisco Report, guys. We are back on this beautiful Tuesday night. I got Cowboys blog Joe. Say what's up, Joe.
What's up, everybody?
I'm Dallas Cowboy Football News. Now, Jerry Jones spoke again, Joe. And I'm going to shrink it all the way down and maybe paraphrase a little bit. But Jerry Jones said Jason Garrett will be a head coach next year in the National Football League. Did you interpret that with, okay, maybe he will get re-signed, or maybe this is the writing on the wall that Jason Garrett is out of here? How did you interpret that? Let's just start it off with some juicy.
Yeah, let's start it out with that. And man, it just it's what it is. All right. If you guys have seen The Irishman, that's the bottom line. It's what it is. You get us to the Super Bowl, or you're out of here, and you'll most likely be coaching in some sort of facet next year as an offensive coordinator, or maybe a head coach somewhere else, but it won't be in Dallas. That's exactly how I interpreted those comments today.
As soon as I read those comments, Joe, I'm not going to lie, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, is it going to be with the Cowboys? So I'm actually complete opposite with you on that interpretation, because Jerry Jones is pretty slick with his words. And I can see Jerry Jones with Jason Garrett in an off-season press conference, with Jason Garrett, fresh new ink on another 5-year contract, and Jerry Jones saying, I told you he'd be coaching in the NFL, and then he would wink at the reporters with a shitty grin on his face.
Let's hope that's not what it is.
Because I can see Jerry doing that.
Yeah, it's possible, but I think just some of the other comments before this, they're not your typical Jerry Jones comments. He's real pointed towards the staff, the coaching. I think he's finally come to the realization that this is it. It's the bottom line. It's what it is, baby. Super Bowl or bust. And that's kind of what we all have been saying, in the offseason. A lot of us YouTubers and podcasts were like, it's boom or bust for Garrett. And I think, this is where we're at right now. It's still the same. It's boom or bust.
There was some sources coming out saying that Jason Garrett's immediate family and friends have talked about this with Jason Garrett, and his immediate family and friends is trying to advise him that maybe this needs to be his last year in Dallas. So those reports came out, I think, last week, and we forgot to talk on it here on the show, but it looks like the writing's on the wall with Jason Garrett. But interesting comments for sure coming out of Jerry Jones's mouth. And I think the only thing I heard when it comes to pointing out coaching was special teams against the New England Patriots game. But other than that, last time I heard him talk about Jason Garrett before these comments was he got my back and I got his. Mm-hmm. So maybe he's just trying to pep up JG, to make that last 4-game stretch there and make it work. But November's behind us for sure. That was a nightmare November.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just been a nightmare season. It's a roller coaster ride. You start out 3-0 against which are sucky teams, and then the narrative became a reality. You can beat bad teams, but you can't beat teams that are 500 or over. And we have another team coming. We're playing the Bears. They went to 500, and we'll see. We'll see what they do there.
Definitely, we'll see. Now, Jason Garrett is gone. We got 2 candidates that popped up. One is kind of tied to Kellen Moore. Mm-hmm. Ron Rivera is just tied for being, a coach in the National Football League. But obviously, it's Ron Rivera and Chris Peterson. What's your take on those two? Obviously, they are available, and it looks like the Cowboys will be posting a head coaching job on Indeed. So, what's your take on those 2 potential candidates? And you can throw in Urban Meyer if you'd like, stuff like that. But we don't even know if Lincoln Riley's going to be available, stuff like that. So go ahead and give your take on those.
Yeah, so those are the 2 most recent ones that have come out, and they all have been kind of, it raised a lot of people's eyebrows. Like Chris Peterson, he's done a pretty good job, everywhere he's been, and he just, resigns out of nowhere. It's kind of weird. And Ron Rivera as well. He's taking the Panthers to the Super Bowl, but they couldn't get over the hump. But, they do play a pretty good defense, especially at the defensive tackle position. I think that's something that Jerry would like.
I'm with you on that. Don't know much about Chris Peterson on my end, except I know him and Kellen Moore designed that playbook at Boise State that just took over the NCAA football. So, he has a winning recipe. I like his mindset. But, the reports of him leaving came down to stress and the season taking a toll on him. So, can he handle an NFL season?
Yeah.
Can he handle it?
That's a good question. And sometimes these coaches come out and say, that it's this and that, but they just want to go somewhere else. You mentioned Urban Meyer. I think that's a good one. He obviously he had success there at with the Gators, and then he had this issue about, I think it was his heart or some sort of health issue. He resigned there, popped up at Ohio State. So sometimes I kind of take these things with a grain of salt. So with Chris Peterson, stress, it could be that, but it could also be him wanting another change, a different location, and the ties are there. Like I said, Kellen Moore, Chris Peterson. Now, for the Cowboys' point of view, if they want to go the puppet route, okay, like another Garrett, another Chan Gailey, these kind of puppet guys, Chris Peterson to me would be that candidate. All right, so you kind of keep the same kind of offensive philosophy. You might even keep Kellen Moore. I don't know if Jerry Jones has a high affinity for Kellen Moore, but that would be the puppet scenario. You keep Peterson, you keep Kellen Moore. Maybe you do something on the defensive side, though. So that's a name to watch out for. Ron Rivera, I think the Giants are going to be in play for that one. Gettleman, he was the Carolina Panthers GM for a long time, so he may want to bring him over there. But if not, he's going to be a hot name. He's a established coach, Super Bowl appearances, in pretty stout defense. So Cowboys will probably have interest there. I'm not so sure for head coach, possibly. You never know. But for defense, a defense coordinator, I would love Ron Rivera. I would love him as our defense coordinator.
No, I'm right there with you. I would love Ron Rivera as a defensive coordinator, just because even with health issues at the linebacker position in Carolina with Luke Kuechly and all that, he was still able to adjust to injury, and that defense didn't even miss a heartbeat. Under Jason Garrett, Sean Lee was basically our entire team. When he got hurt, the defense just looked completely lost, and no adjustments, nothing. So with the way Ron Rivera handled those concussions and hamstrings out of Luke Kuechly, it's already better than Jason the Carrot Garrett, I think. But this is what I was thinking about, Joe. This is what I was thinking. Cowboys have over 20 free agents, and that's including Amari Cooper and Dak, right? The guys haven't been signed yet. Over 20. And let's say we do start over with the new head coach. That's almost half your 53-man roster as it is right now. Cowboys aren't big shoppers in free agency. I think they only have, 7 draft picks this year? So, what my fear is we might pull a Miami Dolphin or a New York Jets, and this is my fear. This is hypothetically, right, in my own brain, that we're going to pull a Miami Dolphin, a New York Jets, where we're just trading away good players to build this monster team. Because you got over 20 free agents. You're not going to be able to sign them all, keep them all. You only got X amount of picks in the draft. You're not big spenders in free agency. So how would a head coach coming in to a new organization, how would he even handle that?
This is where And this is a very good point that you bring up, Mike, about the 20 free agents. And, an incoming coach. I'm assuming that's what happens. But let's just assume, right? Let's assume we get a new coach in here. If I'm the Cowboys, I want a coach who has that type of experience, because all the coaches around the league face these issues, right? Like, the roster continues to churn. You lose 20 players, 15 players, draft pick. So I want somebody who has gone through that kind of scenario. Okay, so an established coach for me is somebody that I want. I know that Lincoln Riley is the hot name, and I think it's probably from a lot of polls I've seen has been the number one guy a lot of fans want. But to me, I feel like he would be a puppet. He's a young collegiate coach. Bring him here, Jerry Jones. Let me mold you into my puppet, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of scared about that one, but you never know. I mean, sometimes you gotta make that leap, and then hope that it can work out. But if we're talking about the roster, somebody that can manage it, somebody with experience. So that's kind of where I would lean towards myself.
That is a good point. I mean, that really is a good point, but I really don't understand how you would even remotely get close to managing that with Amari, because there was reports that Amari Cooper was going to test the market. Dak's not Dak and his agent ain't saying anything. Dak wants to be a Cowboy for life. Byron Jones, there were reports that he's going to test the market. The difference is Amari Cooper said, no, I want to be in Dallas. I love it here. I love living here. You haven't heard anything out of Byron Jones. So maybe Byron Jones might go test the market, which he's really not that shut down. If you expose him and you throw to that side, it's so easy to throw to Cheeto's side. So why would you even throw to Byron Jones? I mean, he's a little better than Cheeto, let's just be real. But, I mean, if you got a corner like Cheeto, of course you're not going to throw to Byron because you can just expose 2-4. But I don't know. That's just for another discussion. We'll cross that bridge when it gets here. But let's talk about the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. The Chicago Bears is coming to town. Mitchell Trubisky, this guy only has 13 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He's completing, though, 63% of his passes. So maybe some Deacon and Dunk in there. His long's only 53 this year for a touchdown. So maybe there's some Deacon Dunk there. But what's your thoughts? He's been sacked 26 times. He got a QBR of 84.4. So is this a game, because I want to bring you back here a little bit, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, these guys, right?
Right.
Can Mitchell Trubisky do, or has the potential to do, what Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold did against this defense?
Absolutely. And I think everybody knows that. The Cowboys make no-name or low-tier quarterbacks all-stars, the next Joe Montana. I mean, Sam Darnold carved us up. Kirk Cousins, who we normally owned when he was with the Redskins, he took it to us too. So it's just like, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if they come in here with the game plan. Mitchell Trubisky, he looks like the number one pick again, first rounder, a blue chipper. Anybody else that he plays against doesn't look so good, but against us, we'll make them look good.
No, agreed. A couple of their wide receivers here. Allen Robinson, he has 850 yards, 5 touchdowns. Next up, ain't even close to what Allen Robinson is doing. His name's Anthony Miller. He has 489 yards, Joe, with no touchdowns. So really, I mean, their biggest threat on the receiving side of the ball is Allen Robinson. Their running game, David Montgomery, he only has 594 yards on the season with 5 touchdowns. So it looks like more like a goal line running back to me. That's probably how he got those touchdowns. Mm-hmm. If I don't watch Chicago Bear football, but if you have those low numbers and you got a high touchdown, touchdowns, then I think your goal line situation when they get in there, they pound it in with them. But what's your take? I mean, who's the biggest threat? Can David Montgomery run on us like like Jones did with Green Bay Packers, or can Allen Robinson really take over this game with Mitchell Trubisky? Who's their biggest threat? Is it the running game or their wide receiving game?
I think it's going to be the running game, and then that'll open up their passing game. I don't think it's the other way around. I think Montgomery he looks like a really good back, and the more touches he gets, the better he plays through the game. And obviously they have Tariq Cohen as the change-up back, your scat back. So if we're talking about getting the ball out in the flats or screen passes and that kind of thing, that's the Cowboys. That's a big. They can't handle it. They don't handle the screen game worth the crap. We get tore up, missed tackles. If I'm the Bears, that's what I'm doing. I'm running it. I'm screen passing you guys to death, dink and dunking, and maybe that'll open up some passing for Robinson. But this to me, this is the East. This should be one of the games that we should win, even though this is a 500 team. I think this is the most, because they're a bad team, and not to say that we're not much better, but the Bears just aren't good. They don't have a lot of weapons. The defense, I think the X factor is going to be the weather. As crazy as that sounds, we saw what the Cowboys did. They weren't prepared. And they're talking about now they're preparing, practicing outside and this and that. I'm like, this staff is just totally incompetent. So for me, the weather could be that X factor as far as the Cowboys' success in this game or failure.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000% with that. Moving on to the Chicago defense, Clinton Dix got an interception for those guys. Their leading tackler is Roquan Smith, and he got 2 sacks also. Roquan, he can play, he can ball. That's a big threat over there on the defense side of the ball. For the most part, I would say that their line is pretty stout. If you look at the inconsistencies of our line and the way our line has been playing, I would give the upper hand to the Chicago defensive line.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
No, I agree, man. I think they have the upper hand. We have Xavier Su'a-Filo. He's garbage. He just is. You see people here and there trying to give him a better rating than Connor Williams. It's just not the truth. The guy's terrible. That's why the Texans let him go. He's a backup in a starter role. That's not good for us. And then slow-footed. I just don't like that. That left guard position has been killing us ever since Ronald Leary left. So let's see what happens there with that. But you're right, man. That defensive line of the Bears, it's good. Roquan Smith, he's one of the better linebackers in the league. Same draft class as Leighton Vander Esch. LVE, is it over for him? The neck, that thing is starting to scare the crap out of me. Not practicing nothing at all. Nothing. So what are they hiding from us? That's scary to me. What do you think, Mike? What do you think about this LVE mystery neck issue?
Well, we talked about this a couple of shows back, and the flare-up word is what concerned me the most, because my wife's in the nursing field. Flare-up. So what's flaring up? That means something was already there prior that's hurt again.
Right.
So was Mike Mayock right about the neck injury for Vander Esch? Obviously, we knew it. They drafted him. They felt comfortable drafting him. But this could be a huge concern in this man's career. Yeah. Ask Peyton Manning how important your neck is. You know what I mean? And
that's not a position that's normally, you're smashing yourself up against players that are running, 20 miles an hour, and you're smashing right into them, So for Leighton, you gotta have that neck. If they do surgery on him, I think his career's done. I think it was just a short, star that went out quick, man. I'm terrified about it, man. I'm hoping for the best,
too.
But man,
it's devastating for sure. Yeah, it's devastating for sure. And who hit him in the neck with their leg? It was friendly fire. Somebody's leg came in, pushed his neck in,
Yeah.
and that's where it all started. So I'm hoping that this flare-up flares down, and that he can get back to football and play like himself. Now, there could be a confidence issue with the way he tries to tackle, or the way he goes for fumbles, trying to recover them, because there's going to be something in the back of his mind saying, okay, will my neck get hurt if I do this?
Exactly, and that's something that we hit on early, and I think some people are just now talking about it, but you and I were on this early. It's like, that's probably a reason why. And this was from the start of the season, it wasn't like this just happened. I mean, he was protecting himself by tackling different to protect his neck. You know what I mean? And then they had the guard there on his shoulder pads. Like, why is he wearing that now? And the Cowboys come out with some stupid explanation that the fans. I think a lot of the fans ate it up and okay, that makes sense. But us that we've been covering the Cowboys forever, and we know how the Cowboys are with their injury reports and that kind of thing. We kind of knew like, something's not jiving here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. You're 1,000% right with that, and it's devastating. But what kind of pisses me off. Connor Williams, he hasn't been playing consistent as he's supposed to. They rushed him back from injury, in my opinion. This is my opinion. They rushed him back from injury.
Yep.
He had a torn ACL. He comes back after the half, plays one snap, gets a false start, and then they pull him?
Yeah.
How in the world does that make any sense? The Cowboys handle injuries, and they have been handling injuries all wrong under Jason Garrett. I really think so. There was a point in time before DeMarcus Ware was released. I think it was in 2012. This guy was like wrapped up like a mummy trying to play in Week 17 against the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, man. It is totally true. That's just one more thing about the Garrett era it's mind-boggling how much of this is just due to lack of experience, man. It's just you don't put Connor Williams out there after he just had his knee scoped like the week before. I don't get it, man. It's incompetence to the maximum level, baby.
It kind of makes me mad because this is players' careers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's get into a game, over or under, and we're going to include both Cowboy offense, Cowboy defense in this, and obviously, we went over the Bears stats. We went over the Bears and what they're capable of. But now it's time to see if the Cowboys will take advantage of that with a little over and under, Joe. Ezekiel Elliott, he needs 10 yards to get to 1,000 yards for the year rushing. Does Zeke get over or under 100 yards against the Chicago Bears?
I'm going to say he's going to get under 100 yards.
Okay, so having said that, let's go to Amari Cooper, who needs 30 yards to get to 1,000 and yards receiving. Okay, does Amari Cooper over or under 100 yards?
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over 100 yards for Cooper.
Nice. Michael Gallup, over or under 2 touchdowns?
I'm gonna go under.
Blake Jarwin, over or under 50 yards receiving?
I'm gonna say under. Unfortunately.
Exactly. There was a point made with that. Tony Pollard, does he get over or under, no matter how he does it, touches on offense? 20.
20 touches. Nah.
That's either running or receiving.
I'm gonna say under.
All right, that concludes offense. Unless you got something to add.
Yeah, I just feel that when we talk about some of these over and unders, you kind of know, you kind of answer them knowing how the Cowboys are with the Blake Jarwin. The Blake Jarwin is a prime example. He's getting it done when he gets opportunities, and they're holding him back, and it's holding back some opportunities for the offense. It's just More of the same stupid stuff from the Cowboys, you know.
Mhm.
Witten's good, you know. He'll bail you out here and there, but why not have the extra weapon out there more available?
Why
to
not
you?
have the speed?
The speed?
That I mean,
Yeah.
and the hands. Blake Jarwin can promise you two things: I'm gonna catch the football and I'm gonna run like hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and I mean that's what that one is, and the Pollard one too. You want they just don't, and they're not going to. Not under Garrett. That's why I feel like this whole thing needs to be gutted out because imagine Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott being coached under somebody like Sean Payton, right? Or somebody of that nature. You know he's gonna utilize that, you know, or Kyle Shanahan, like these kinds of guys, coaches, they utilize that other weapon. Fourth round pick, that's nothing to sneeze at. You usually will get something out of your fourth round picks. The Cowboys, year in and year out, it's just like, you know, they let these guys go to waste. It sucks.
Exactly. It sucks bad. Defense over and under. Tank Lawrence, over or under 2 sacks?
Over under 2 sacks. I'm gonna say he hits the mark. I'm gonna say he hits two sacks.
2 sacks for Mr. Tank. How about Robert Quinn playing these Bears? Over or under 2 sacks?
I'm gonna say he hits the mark too. 2 sacks for Quinn.
So we got 4 sacks on defense right now.
At least.
I have a feeling the Dallas Cowboy defense might get an interception or 2. So over or under 2 interceptions, Joe?
I'm gonna say under 2 interceptions.
Nah,
These guys just don't catch the ball. It's right there. It goes through their hands. They drop it. They just don't do it. They don't get it done.
I agree. Hey guys, we gave you a 40-minute show. We have a long show today. If you like the longer shows, make sure you let us know. Appreciate you guys for listening. Joe, where can they find you?
Obviously, you guys can follow me on YouTube. That's where I do a lot of my videos, and that's Cowboys Blog. So just look me up, Cowboys Blog. Hit me up there. Twitter and Instagram, Cowboys Blog Net. Hit me up. I'll follow back. You know, we talk some football in the DMs, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, guys. Follow Cowboys Blog, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. Follow the Frisco Report on Twitter and all that good stuff, guys. And I'm Dallas Cowboy Football News, Facebook and YouTube. DCF News 1 on Twitter. And guys, Joe will never do this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it for him because his merch is high quality content, high quality merch, right? So if you're looking for a stocking stuffing or you're looking to give a diehard Cowboy fan something nice, because Cowboys Blog, they just don't have the Cowboy Blog t-shirts. They got Jalen Smith t-shirts, they got Purge t-shirts, they got all kinds of t-shirts over there. So obviously represent the Cowboys Blog shirt. But if you want to stock and stuff it or a nice gift or something, you know, hit up Cowboys Blog's merch. Where can they find that website at?
Yeah, and I appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for plugging that. But you guys can just find that at the cowboysblog.net. That's the homepage for everything Cowboys Blog. So cowboysblog.net, and just go to a gear, and you can hit up various shirts that are available for you guys.
Absolutely, guys. That's it with the Frisco Report. We will see you next Tuesday night with results that we just talked about, with the Chicago Bears facing our Dallas Cowboys. Enjoy your week. Peace.
Peace.